Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this online meeting. And thank you all for attending this online meeting in this very challenging times. I hope, and we hope all on behalf of the ISOCARP Institute, that you had a good lunch, or that you had a good start in the day. And we are really delighted to have you all attending this training. And we understand this is a great challenge, and this is a very interesting process we are going to experience the next 2 days altogether. My name is Didier van Kutsem, and I'm representing here ISOCARP Institute, and I will present you the team later. So my first welcome to all of you. And after this, I would like to ask also Mrs. Pascaline Gabriel.
Thank you. Dear participants, dear partners, dear city representatives, it is our pleasure to welcome you today to our first training on urban sustainable development or design on sustainable cities in the framework of the CRIC project. CRIC stands for Climate Resilient and Inclusive Cities. As responsible partner, Pilot for Dev, which is a think tank or an NGO, has had the pleasure to coordinate together with UCLG ASPAC and ISOCARP for the organization of this training. As you know, ISOCARP is the Center for Urban Excellence, and it's a network of excellent planners, experts, and key people. We are really grateful for them to organize this training on our behalf in the framework of the CRIC project. But this training is also made for you, as we fully realize that you as city representatives are facing the real problems and challenges to become more inclusive, to adapt and mitigate to climate change, to work on disaster resilience and preparedness, without sometimes even having enough adequate funding provision. In this way, we do not want this training to be too much expert-centered, but an interactive session, an exchange, a beacon for solution and knowledge intersection to develop impacts. Yesterday, the IPCC expert Jean-Pascal Van Ypersel called for climate action at the top of the European Summit de Mont Blanc. He says climate action is urgently needed, but it is possible. And let's face it, cities with 68% of GHG emissions and more than 70% of energy use at world level are real laboratories for climate mitigation, climate action, resilience. Cities are also more vulnerable to climate hazards, strong winds, drought, flooding, pollution, landslides, and forest fires, which are adding to potential natural disasters, as well as the rise of sea level. Local policy actions is urgently needed, and we can see that Indonesian pilot cities are also at the forefront of climate adaptation. This is why we will do our best in the framework of the CRIC project to find solutions to develop a joint and collective work with 10 pilot cities to implement tools and organize exchanges with other cities. This is why, on behalf of Pilot for Dev, but also the co-organizer, UCLG ASPAC, the European partners, ACR+, the network of cities for sustainable use of resources, ECOLIS, which is a network of grassroots level of organizations for the environment, the University Gustave Eiffel in Paris, and the All India Institute for Local Self-Government. We are wishing you a really warm welcome and a very good interactive session. We hope for the cooperation to be continued through the 5 years project, which is co-funded by the European Union. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Pascaline, for your welcome words. I would like to ask now the Secretary General of UCLG ASPAC to give some words of introduction.
Very much, very good afternoon and very good morning to colleagues and partners from Europe, and namaste. I really like to welcome everyone, all participants for joining us today at the first training of CRIC on Sustainable Urban Design and Development. We are very fortunate because today we can meet again. I know that during this COVID-19, we have been organizing so many virtual meetings and many of the members of UCAG ASPAC particularly have been joining this session, web share sessions that we have been organizing since March. So, and I'm glad that we all can meet again today. I like to especially thanks our partners for today's training, which is ISOCARP. Everyone knows what ISOCARP is all about. It's a quite strong institutions in research and training program. So this two-day meeting or training is actually a part of our series of these capacity building programs of CRIC. And as you already know, especially in the pilot cities, this is a 5 years program of UCAG ASPAC together with several partners. So I'm happy that we all have the partners here, Localized, Pilot for Deaf, LIG, and many others. So, and we also know that we have received so many participants today, and we will be having a face-to-face training itself to be delivered later in Samarinda, Indonesia. So I'm sure many of you will be excited in visiting Samarinda city in Indonesia. And perhaps we will be able to choose the best participants of the training. So the training itself is very important because it's addressing the importance of sustainable developments. Many of us know what sustainable development and but in reality, implementation of sustainable development has been a challenge. We see our cities are well planned, but in terms of executions, the cities are not as what we expect as we plan. So we see also a lot of pollutions, also very bad traffic congestions, and very crowded places. And we even don't have space for walking and even enjoying ourselves, like we don't have a good quality of public spaces. So we will be talking, thanks to our partners, ISOCARP, we will be also having a lot of good cases from foreign countries. So it's not only just about introducing the cases of Indonesia, but we will be listening also from foreign experts that are coordinated by ISOCARP today and also tomorrow. So this is a part of our strengthening programs of cities and local governments, looking at the sustainable and resilient development plan, looking also at the good governance aspects, how community can be engaged, how can also be accountable in terms of performance of local government. So these are several kind of elements that will be introduced by ISOCARPs during this 2 days training. And the idea is that how can we speed up climate mitigation and adaptation? And this is also one of the, and also why we need to find also better resource mobilizations for the empowerment of the people as well. So let me just say 1 or 2 seconds about this. Some of the expectations from training participants. This training must be unique because we listen also the needs and demands of local governments. We need, before the prior to the training, we have also already basically consulted with the cities, what the needs, what the demands of the city. So this is the way for us to make a tailor-made training programs for cities by putting a lot of important expertise and especially experience of the cities in making some solutions that sustainable cities, this is possible. It's not something that impossible. This is possible. So I understand that the training will be delivered in English. Maybe some of you will face a little language barrier. But please never stop to raise questions. We are giving also, you know, some, we will provide you with some helps in terms of interpretations. So you can raise questions through the chat groups, and also you can also basically highlight and I also want to listen tomorrow whether you find this training program useful. So these modules include several aspects, all agendas, global agendas, including sustainable development goals, new urban agendas, you know, and also other things related to human-centered design and development. But some terms maybe some of you very familiar, but the importance of the training is not just to absorb, it's not just to get the new knowledge, not just get this kind of you know, information, but the important is execution. The important is about implementation, because this is why CRIC, as we will inform you, this is not about making climate action plans only, but it's also making these plans be implemented, be executed, because the people you all serve cannot wait for having this plan implemented. So I wish you keep this commitment and always keep a good commitment, because this CRIC is a 5 years program, and this is the program for all of you, especially local government cities of UCIG ASPAC members and partners, and particularly these 10 palace cities. So let me just say in bahasa for participants from Indonesia. So terima kasih sekali sudah hadir di acara training ini. Semoga training ini bermanfaat buat semua, dan saya tadi sudah highlight bahwa yang penting bukan sekedar mempersiapkan climate action plans, tetapi bagaimana kita bisa mengeksekusikannya. Dan sekali lagi saya ucapkan selamat kepada 10 pilot cities yang sudah terpilih oleh CRIC program ini. Ini sesuatu yang saya pikir perlu semua banggakan, karena 10 pilot cities ini, dan saya harapkan sukses, bisa menjadi reference bukan hanya terhadap Indonesian cities, tetapi juga di Asia Pasifik dan juga di global arena. So selamat sekali lagi, dan semoga you will enjoy the training program. So thanks again ISOCARP and all colleagues local for development for organizing this wonderful training. So over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Benadia. Thank you everyone for this very nice introduction and explaining also the challenges and the importance of this training. And as it is a training, we will also do a kind of exchange of ideas and exchange of different feelings when we are talking about sustainable cities and urban development. I would like to explain you very shortly the team who was responsible for the development of this training, and then I will further explain you some and give you some details about the next steps. So the team here, so you see, of course, you see my name here on the left, and on the right you see Milena Ivkovic. She is responsible for urban planning advisory teams within ISOCARP. And then below we see Federico Eili. He's going, and yes, Milena is going to talk to you later this afternoon. Federico Eili is also a project manager at ISOCARP Institute, and he will talk also to you this afternoon. And Chuck Gall is the project manager, and he is simply deciding when we have to have the next slide. So the next, I will give you a short introduction. What is ISOCARP and what is ISOCARP Institute? Because this training is now operated by ISOCARP Institute. So we had in ISOCARP 1965, it was the founding of the society as a global non-profit association of members, professionals from different part of the world. And we are now ISOCARP as an organization on about 80 countries worldwide. And in 2016, we started the ISOCARP Institute as a practice research center of the ISOCARP Society. And this training program is organized here within the ISOCARP Institute. And our tasks of the ISOCARP Institute is then to operate within the 3 pillars you can see here. With the ISOCARP Institute and with the members of ISOCARP, we are doing research, we are doing practice, and we are doing academy. Research with all the projects doing for global organizations and for the European Union. Practice, we are doing these urban planning advisory teams, the urban labs, technical assistants, etc. And with the academy, we are doing these training programs, capacity building programs, online education, etc. And well, and then we, with the next slide, will explain you what we have or what we would like to achieve with all of you in the next days. So we start with this introduction. After the introduction, later on, only 15 minutes later, we will have the next session focusing on economic prosperity. And 15 minutes later, we will have the environmental sustainability session. Tomorrow, we start at the same time, and we have the session on social inclusiveness, later on good governance, and finally, in the evening or in the late afternoon, we have the summary and the discussion. Next slide. So during these training sessions, we are going to talk about sustainability all the time. So, and for all of you that you know what is about sustainability, so of course we have the environmental dimension, we have the economic dimension, and we have the social dimension. Everything is related to sustainability, because when we are talking about sustainability, we are talking about the present, the need of the present, which we have to focus on, and we have to take into account the future generations, and also that the future generations will have the same environment and the same quality, or the better environment that we have and that we are experiencing now. And when all the time during the training sessions, we are going to refer to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And for all of you, you will see regularly this table of the 17 sustainable development goals. And this, we are not focusing only on SDG 11, sustainable cities, but also on a lot of other goals, like no poverty, good health, quality education, gender equality, etc. So all these goals will be repeated regularly during the training, so that you can understand when we are talking about SDG 11, for example, it is related to this and that action. Next slide. I would like to ask, would like to give you a short interview of Dr. Shipra Narangasuri. She is the Chief of Urban Practices at UN Habitat Nairobi, and she would like to give you a short address, exactly related to the topic of new agenda and sustainable development goals.
Hi, my name is Shipra Narangasuri, and I'm the Chief of Urban Practices at UN Habitat. I'm here to share some thoughts with you today on the challenges and opportunities of sustainable urbanization and the importance of the new urban agenda. We all know that urbanization is one of the defining trends of this century. Done right, well-planned urbanization can lead to compact, connected, inclusive, resilient, and vibrant cities and human settlements. But poorly planned urbanization can equally cause many challenges. It can deepen inequalities in cities. It can cause fragmentation of the urban fabric and the social fabric, unequal access to housing, to basic services, to public space, makes cities exclusionary and unsustainable. Unplanned urbanization can also lead to a lot of environmental challenges and can increase the challenges of climate change, both in terms of mitigation and adaptation. The New Urban Agenda, which was adopted in 2016 by member states as an accelerator and an implementation framework for Agenda 2030 and its goal on cities and human settlements, is an opportunity and a framework that allows us to pursue sustainable urbanization. The three transformative commitments of the New Urban Agenda focus on social inclusion and ending poverty, on a shared and growing economic prosperity, and on environmentally sustainable and climate resilient cities. The New Urban Agenda can be implemented through three pillars of implementation. The first is a good governance structure. The second is effective planning and management of the urban spatial form. And the third is through, of course, resources and capacities. This framework allows us to pursue the goal of SDG 11, making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable for all, as well as many other aspects of the Agenda 2030. I invite you to look at the New Urban Agenda. I invite you to look at the work of UN Habitat, the international guidelines on urban and territorial planning, the many frameworks, tools, resources, normative instruments that UN Habitat has to offer, and learn from them and share with us how you are making your cities safe, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable. Thank you.
So that was the interview with Shipra Narangsuri, head of urban planning at the UN United Nations Nairobi. And of course, she mentioned several implementation pillars. And she mentioned also the topic of governance. She mentioned also the economic, environmental, and social sustainability, which are mostly related to SDG 11. But for all of you, we have to understand that this is related to the different scales we are talking about. When we are talking about urban development, we are talking about the different local, city, and regional scales where we can implement the different sustainable development goals. And this is going to be repeated again also during the training several times. Next slide. The objectives of the training sessions we are going to experience in the next hours are the following. We would like to present you a framework of sustainable urban development concept and trends. So this is going to be presented to all of you, combined with several interviews and sources. The second point is we would like to give you also global examples and best practices according and related to all these scales of planning, what I was explaining before. And the third, we would like to inspire you with the different ideas and projects or solutions you can develop when you would like to do this implementation on the ground. Implementation of your intervention, implementation of your policies you would like to have. And this is also for your city and for your citizens. We would like to share this with you. Of course, these are not only, we don't have only this online training. We have also collected for all of you several articles, review articles. We have the expert interviews, we have the presentations we are going to give you, and we have also Congress papers, because with the ISOCARP Congress, we have a lot of well, contributions, reviewed contributions we can share with you. And so we will have a lot of sources we can share, and then we can give it to you. Now it's time to slowly close the first introduction sessions. And for this, we have a round of questions. First question is, from which city are you? So we can collect this information. And we are all interested to see where you are coming from. We can see participants coming from the Philippines, from Manila, from Kuala Lumpur, from Indonesia, East Timor, very good. And from Jakarta too. The next question is, what is your role, position in your city, administration, or organization? Are you director? Are you representative? Are you deputy? Are you planner, urban planner? Or are you consultant, manager? All these will help us also to have a good replies to your questions, and also define also the objectives of the training. The question is, what is the biggest challenge in your city? We will see different topics here appearing. We can see already several, and this is interesting. It is related to waste, it is related to flood, it is related to housing management, it is related to climate adaptation. It is also collaboration between stakeholders. It's about governance, public transport, inclusiveness, financing, circular projects. So we are talking here about circular economy, policies, access to climate financing, human and economic, social. So this is really great that we can collect so much topics and so much themes we can focus on in the next sessions. So these are the contact details for ISOCARP Institute, Pilot for Dev, responsible coordinating with us the sessions, and the contact for the climate resilient and inclusive cities. With the UCLG ASPAC contacts Asi Budjati and Putra Dvitama. So thank you to all of you for attending this session.